Late 70s to early 80s woman, mid to low range, slightly warmer and softer than average, but not frail. Last Tuesday, I walked into a pawn shop downtown, and there, sitting in the display case under harsh fluorescent lights, was the ring I'd worn for 53 years. The ring I'd given to my granddaughter Emma just 7 days earlier. My hands started shaking, because this wasn't just any ring. This ring survived World War II. It crossed the Atlantic Ocean twice. It was on my finger the day I held each of my 3 children for the first time, the day I buried my husband, the day Emma was born. And now, it was behind glass at Murphy's pawn shop, tagged at $350. But here's what you need to understand. I didn't give Emma that ring because she asked for it. I gave it to her because of something that happened 3 weeks before that Tuesday, something I hadn't told anyone in my family. Let me take you back. 3 weeks earlier, I was sitting in Dr. Morrison's office, and he was using words like advanced and limited options and maybe 6 months. The fluorescent lights buzzed above us. His diplomas hung crooked on the wall, and I kept thinking about that ring on my finger. My wedding ring. Robert gave it to me in 1971. We were broke back then. He was working at the factory, pulling double shifts, and I was waitressing at the diner on 5th Street. This ring cost him 2 months' salary. He'd hidden it in an old coffee can in the garage for 3 months before he proposed. It's not fancy. It's white gold with 3 small diamonds. The band is worn thin on one side from 53 years of wear. There's a tiny scratch on the inside where it caught on a fence post back in 1984. But it's mine. Or it was. When Dr. Morrison finished explaining my diagnosis, I didn't cry. I just looked down at that ring and thought about who should have it when I'm gone. My daughter Linda? She's practical. She'd probably get it appraised and put it in a safe. My son Michael? He lives in Seattle now. I see him maybe twice a year. He'd give it to his wife, and she'd be nice about it, but it wouldn't mean anything to her. But Emma is different. Emma is 24. She's my oldest granddaughter. When she was 7, she used to come to my house every Saturday morning. We'd make pancakes together, and she'd always ask to try on my rings. They'd put them on her tiny fingers, and they'd spin around like hula hoops. "Grandma," she'd say, "when I grow up, can I have your sparkly ring?" I'd laugh. "Maybe someday, sweetheart." She'd twirl around the kitchen, hands in the air, pretending she was a princess. Robert would watch from his chair, newspaper in hand, smiling that quiet smile he had. Those Saturdays were everything. So after that appointment with Dr. Morrison, I decided the ring should go to Emma. Not when I die. Now, while I could still see her wear it, while I could still tell her the stories. I called her that same afternoon. "Emma, honey, can you come over this weekend? I have something for you." She showed up on Saturday morning, same time she used to come for pancakes back when she was 7. Except now she's 24, working at a marketing firm downtown, wearing business casual and carrying a designer purse I know she couldn't really afford. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where we used to make pancakes. I took off the ring. My finger felt naked without it, lighter. "Emma, honey, I want you to have this." Her eyes went wide. "Grandma, I can't take this. This is your wedding ring." Which is exactly why I'm giving it to you now, while I can tell you what it means. I told her everything, about how Robert saved for 3 months, about our wedding day in that tiny church on Maple Street, about how I wore it every single day for 53 years, through everything, through 3 pregnancies, through the year Grandpa got laid off and we ate rice and beans for dinner 5 nights a week, through his heart attack in 95, through the day he died in 2019. This ring has been through my entire adult life, and now I want it to be part of yours. Emma was crying. She slipped it on her finger. It fit perfectly. "I'll keep it safe, Grandma, I promise. I'll never take it off." She hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. That was 7 days before Tuesday. On Tuesday morning, I was supposed to meet my friend Dorothy for coffee at the diner on 5th Street. Same diner I used to waitress at 50 years ago. But Dorothy called and canceled. Her daughter was sick. So I decided to take a walk instead. The weather was nice, cool but sunny. I walked past the library, past the old theater, and that's when I saw Murphy's Pawn Shop. I'd walked past this place 1,000 times. Never went in. Never had a reason to. But that day, something made me look in the window. And there it was. At first, I thought I was seeing things. It was behind glass in the front display case. White gold band, 3 small diamonds, worn thin on one side. I stepped closer. My heart was hammering. There was a tiny scratch on the inside of the band, the same scratch from the fence post back in 1984. It was my ring, my wedding ring, the one I'd given Emma 7 days ago. I stood there on the sidewalk, staring through that window, and I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. She'd promised. She'd cried. She'd said she'd never take it off. And she'd sold it. For $350? My first thought was anger. Hot, burning anger. How could she? How could she take something that meant everything to me and just sell it? My second thought was sadness. The kind that sits in your chest like a stone. Because if she sold it, that meant she needed the money. And if she needed the money that badly, why didn't she just ask me? My third thought was fear. Because maybe I didn't know my granddaughter as well as I thought I did. I could have walked away, pretend I never saw it, let it go. But I couldn't. I walked into that pawn shop, the bell above the door made a tinny little jingle. The place smelled like old cigarettes and dust. Behind the counter was a man in his 50s with a gray beard and tired eyes. "Can I help you?" he asked. I pointed to the ring in the case, the white gold with 3 diamonds. "How much?" $350. It's a nice piece, just came in last week. "Can I see it?" He took it out of the case and handed it to me. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped it. I turned it over. There was the scratch. And there on the inside of the band was the engraving I almost forgotten about. R&M forever. Robert and Margaret forever. "I'll take it," I said. I paid $350 to buy back my own wedding ring. I walked out of that pawn shop with the ring in a little plastic bag, and I sat in my car for 20 minutes, just staring at it. I needed to talk to Emma, but I didn't know what I was going to say. I drove to her apartment. She lives in one of those new buildings downtown with the glass facade and the doorman. I'd only been there twice before. I didn't call ahead. I just showed up. She answered the door in sweatpants and an old college t-shirt. Her hair was in a messy bun. She looked surprised to see me. "Grandma, what are you doing here?" I held up the plastic bag. "We need to talk." Her face went white, completely white. "Grandma, I can explain." "You sold it." My voice was shaking. 7 days, Emma. You kept it for 7 days, and then you sold it. She started crying immediately. Not pretty crying. The ugly kind. The kind where you can't breathe. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "Why?" I asked. "Just tell me why." And then she told me everything. About how she'd been fired from her job 3 weeks ago. About how she'd been too embarrassed to tell anyone. About how her rent was due and her credit cards were maxed out and she was about to get evicted. "I didn't know what else to do," she sobbed. "I tried to get a loan. I tried everything. And then I looked at the ring and I thought maybe it was worth enough to cover rent. Just for 1 month. Just to buy me some time to figure things out." She looked at me with red, swollen eyes. "I was going to get it back, Grandma, I swear. As soon as I got another job, I was going to go back and buy it. I thought I could fix it before you ever found out." I stood there in her doorway, holding that plastic bag with my wedding ring inside, and I realized something. I'd made a mistake. Not in giving her the ring, but in how I gave it to her. See, I'd given Emma that ring because I wanted her to have something of mine, something meaningful, something that would remind her of me after I'm gone. But I never asked her what she needed. I never asked if she was okay, if she was struggling, if there was anything I could do to help. I'd been so focused on making this grand gesture, on passing down this family treasure, that I missed what was right in front of me. My granddaughter was drowning, and instead of throwing her a life preserver, I gave her a ring. I sat down on her couch. It was lumpy and sagging in the middle, probably secondhand. "How much do you need?" I asked. "Grandma, no." "How much, Emma?" "For rent and utilities, about $1,500, but I can't take your money. You already gave me the ring, and The ring doesn't matter. And as I said it, I realized it was true. It's just metal and rocks. You know what matters? You. Making sure you're okay. Making sure you have a roof over your head. I opened my purse and took out my checkbook. Emma tried to refuse. Of course she did. She has too much pride. Gets that from her grandfather. But I insisted. I wrote her a check for $2,000, enough for rent and a little extra for groceries. "I'll pay you back," she said. "You don't have to." "But, Emma, listen to me. I'm 76 years old. I don't need the money. And even if I did, I'd rather spend it on you than anything else in this world." I handed her the plastic bag with the ring. "You should keep this too, but not because it's worth $350. Keep it because it's a reminder that you're not alone, that when things get hard, you don't have to sell your grandmother's ring. You can call your grandmother." She hugged me. We both cried, the ugly kind of crying. Here's what I learned that day. We spend so much time thinking about legacy, about what we're going to leave behind, about the things that will represent us when we're gone. But sometimes the best legacy isn't a thing at all. It's showing up. It's asking the right questions. It's paying attention. Emma didn't need a ring. She needed help. And I almost missed that because I was too busy making grand gestures. It's been 3 months since that Tuesday. Emma found a new job, a better one. She's doing well. She still wears the ring, every day. But now, when I look at it on her finger, I don't think about the ring itself. I think about that afternoon in her apartment, about how close I came to losing something more important than any piece of jewelry. I think about the second chance we both got. If you're watching this and you have someone in your life you love, don't wait. Don't assume they're okay just because they're smiling. Ask them. Really ask them. "How are you doing?" And please don't say fine. Tell me the truth. Because the things we leave behind don't matter nearly as much as the people we do while we're still here. I still have about 6 months, according to Dr. Morrison. Maybe less, maybe more. You never really know with these things. But I'm not spending that time worrying about who gets what when I'm gone. I'm spending it with Emma, with my kids, with the people I love. And that ring, it's where it belongs, on Emma's finger. Not because of what it's worth, but because of what happened when I found it in that pawn shop. Because that's when I finally understood what really matters. If you've made it this far, I want to ask you something. Is there someone in your life you need to check on? Someone you've been meaning to call? Don't wait. The rings and the jewelry and all the stuff we accumulate, none of it matters as much as the people. None of it. Thank you for listening to an old woman ramble. I hope this story meant something to you, because it meant everything to me.